Before the heavyweight division was unified, there was a moment in history when two brothers ruled it at the same time. Wladimir and Vitali Klitschko held world heavyweight titles simultaneously, an unprecedented reign that reshaped the division and shut the door on an entire era of challengers. While Wladimir dominated with precision and control, Vitali was the enforcer, relentless, brutal, and seemingly unbreakable. This countdown focuses on the top 5 wins of Vitali Klitschko, the heavyweight who never lost on the scorecards and never took a backward step. These fights capture the nights that defined his fearsome reputation, stoppage victories, wars of attrition, and performances that showed why opponents feared sharing a ring with the bigger Klitschko. From raw power to legendary toughness, these wins explain why Vitali wasn't just part of the Klitschko era, he was one of its foundations. Number 5. 18th February 2012 versus Derek Chisora. This was one of the most hostile and chaotic build-ups of Vitali Klitschko's career, and one of the toughest nights he faced as WBC champion. Derek Chisora arrived determined to bully his way into history. He slapped Vitali at the weigh-in, spat water at Wladimir in the ring before introductions, and promised to drag the champion into a war. The atmosphere was poisonous, the stakes combustible. Once the bell rang, however, Vitali showed exactly why he was the elder Klitschko. Rather than being drawn into Chisora's brawl, Klitschko boxed with discipline and control. He constantly changed angles, used superior footwork, and exploited his height and reach to keep Chisora at the end of sharp, straight right hands. Every time Chisora tried to close the distance with bobbing, weaving pressure, Vitali met him with clean power shots and smart movement. That said, Chisora refused to fold. He applied relentless pressure, worked the body, and landed hooks that forced Klitschko onto the back foot at times, particularly in the 8th and 12th rounds, his strongest moments of the fight. It was a physical, grinding contest that demanded patience, stamina, and composure from the champion. After 12 hard rounds, all 3 judges scored the bout clearly for Vitali Klitschko, 118 to 110, 118 to 110, and 119 to 111. While it wasn't a knockout, the win mattered. Chisora earned respect for his chin and heart, and this fight is widely regarded as Vitali's most competitive outing since his 2003 loss to Lennox Lewis. It also made Chisora only the 4th man ever to take Vitali the full 12-round distance. In a career defined by dominance, this victory stands out as proof of Vitali Klitschko's mental strength, discipline, and ring intelligence under fire. A gritty win that earns its place at number 5. Number 4. 26 June 1999 versus Herbie Hyde. This was the night Vitali Klitschko announced himself to the heavyweight world. Herbie Hyde entered the bout as the reigning WBO heavyweight champion and a heavy favorite with the bookmakers, despite a frustrating run of postponements caused by injuries and canceled fights. After finally returning to action, Hyde agreed to face his mandatory challenger, an unbeaten, relatively unknown European champion named Vitali Klitschko. On paper, this was meant to be routine business for the champion. Instead, it became a statement. The opening round was competitive, with Hyde showing his usual sharpness and confidence. But early in the second round, the fight turned violently in Klitschko's favor. A crushing right hand sent Hyde crashing to the canvas. He beat the count, only to be dropped again moments later by another thunderous right. Hyde staggered to his feet once more, reaching the count of 8, but this time the referee had seen enough. The bout was waved off, and Vitali Klitschko scored a devastating second-round knockout. The significance of this win cannot be overstated. This wasn't just a title victory, it was Vitali Klitschko's first world championship, achieved in emphatic fashion against a reigning champion who was expected to win. In 2 rounds, Klitschko dismantled Hyde with raw power, composure, and precision, instantly marking himself as a major force in the heavyweight division. It was the first glimpse of the relentless, iron-chinned destroyer who would go on to rule the WBC for nearly a decade, and the moment Vitali Klitschko truly arrived on boxing's biggest stage. Number 3. 10th September 2011 versus Tomas Adamek. This fight showcased Vitali Klitschko at his most commanding and authoritative, on a night that carried huge historical and cultural significance. Contested for the WBC Heavyweight Championship, the bout marked the first ever pay-per-view boxing event in Polish television history. generating around 200,000 PPV buys, a remarkable figure that reflected Tomas Adamek's immense popularity and the scale of the occasion. Adamek entered the fight as a former light heavyweight and cruiserweight world champion, but stepping up to heavyweight against Vitali Klitschko proved to be a different level entirely. From the opening bell, the physical disparity was clear. Standing 6 inches taller, the 40-year-old Klitschko used his reach, timing, and accuracy to dictate the pace. Adamek attempted to press forward early, particularly in the second round, but a heavy right hand sent him reeling against the ropes and immediately highlighted the power gap. As the fight progressed, Klitschko methodically broke Adamek down. He staggered the challenger in the 2nd, 6th, and 9th rounds, landing clean, punishing shots, while remaining largely untouched himself. By the middle rounds, Adamek was bloodied and visibly fatigued, surviving on toughness rather than momentum. Despite his courage and effort, Adamek was unable to mount any sustained offense. Klitschko remained composed and clinical throughout, winning every round on all 3 judges' scorecards. At 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the 10th round, referee Massimo Baravecchio stepped in to halt the contest, awarding Klitschko the victory by technical knockout. The performance improved Vitali Klitschko's record to 43-2 with 40 knockouts, reinforcing his dominance of the heavyweight division and underlining the brutal reality of stepping up in weight against a true heavyweight champion. Number 2, 24th April 2004 versus Corey Sanders. Billed as "Let the Next Era Begin," this bout marked one of the most important and most dangerous nights of Vitali Klitschko's career. Contested for the vacant WBC Heavyweight Championship, the fight came less than a year after Klitschko's valiant but ultimately unsuccessful challenge against Lennox Lewis in June 2003. In the aftermath of that loss, Klitschko initially sought an immediate rematch, but Lewis declined further competition and would eventually retire. To secure his place as the division's next standard-bearer, Klitschko stopped Kirk Johnson in 2 rounds and a WBC title eliminator, becoming Lewis's mandatory challenger. When Lewis officially announced his retirement in January 2004, the WBC title was declared vacant, setting the stage for this clash. Standing opposite Vitali was Corey Sanders, the hard-hitting South African who had delivered one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight history just a year earlier, by knocking out Wladimir Klitschko to claim the WBO title. After vacating that belt, Sanders accepted the challenge to face Vitali for the WBC crown, bringing with him genuine knockout power and confidence. Going into the fight, Vitali Klitschko was ranked the #1 heavyweight in the world by The Ring, with Sanders ranked 3rd, an indication of the bout's elite status. What followed was a brutal and thrilling slugfest. Sanders landed several heavy left hands that tested Klitschko's durability, but the Ukrainian steadily imposed himself through superior size, output, and pressure. Klitschko consistently threw and landed more punches, forcing Sanders into a punishing pace. By the 8th round, Sanders was visibly worn down and bleeding, though he summoned one final surge that briefly troubled Klitschko. That moment was short-lived. A clean, straight right hand halted Sanders' momentum, and Klitschko unleashed a relentless barrage. After absorbing more than 20 unanswered punches, referee John Shorley stepped in late in the round to stop the contest, awarding Klitschko a technical knockout victory. The win crowned Vitali Klitschko as WBC heavyweight champion and firmly established him as the division's dominant force. It was a defining performance against one of the most dangerous punchers of the era, and a decisive moment that truly signaled the arrival of heavyweight boxing's next ruler. Number 1. 11th October 2008 versus Samuel Peter. Billed as Danger Zone, this fight marked one of the most remarkable championship comebacks in heavyweight boxing history. Contested for the WBC Heavyweight Championship, the bout saw Vitali Klitschko return after nearly 4 years of retirement to challenge reigning champion Samuel Peter. Peter had won the WBC title earlier that year by defeating Oleg Moskayev and entered negotiations for a mandatory defense against the former champion Klitschko, despite widespread questions about Vitali's fitness and durability after such a long absence. Klitschko had originally planned a tune-up bout against Jamil McCline in September 2007, but a serious back injury forced him to withdraw, further delaying his return. It was not until May 2008 that an agreement was finally reached for the two heavyweights to meet at O2 World Berlin in October. Peter entered the bout as a legitimate champion, though his lone career defeat had come 3 years earlier at the hands of Wladimir Klitschko, Vitali's younger brother. During Vitali's absence, Wladimir had risen to become a dominant heavyweight champion himself, adding extra historical significance. Vitali now had the opportunity to become part of the first pair of brothers to simultaneously hold heavyweight world titles. Despite the long layoff, Klitschko entered the fight as a clear betting favorite, and once the bell rang, any doubts quickly vanished. From the opening round, Klitschko imposed complete control. Using his trademark ramrod jab, he kept Peter at distance while repeatedly landing heavy hooks to both the body and head. Peter adopted a tight defensive guard and did manage to score with occasional body shots, but he was unable to consistently close the gap against Klitschko's reach, timing, and footwork. As the rounds progressed, the disparity became increasingly clear. Klitschko's punch output, accuracy, and physical dominance steadily wore Peter down. By the end of the 8th round, a visibly exhausted Peter informed his corner that he could not continue. The fight was waved off, crowning Vitali Klitschko a 2-time WBC heavyweight champion. At the time of the stoppage, Klitschko was leading decisively on all 3 scorecards. 2 judges had it 80-72, while the third scored it 79-73, giving Peter just a single round. The victory was more than just a title win. It completed one of the greatest comebacks in heavyweight history, reaffirmed Vitali Klitschko's elite status, and cemented the Klitschko brothers' place in boxing history as the division's dominant force.